Welcome to the Put on Waivers Media Group, home of the Put on Raiders podcast and the Student Body Right podcast. This is your place for the best breakdowns and the best insight for those who fight on and bleed silver and black. Now, here are your hosts, Dwayne Douglas and Ryan Holmes.
And welcome, everybody, to another glorious episode of the Student Body Right USC podcast. I'm your host, Dwayne Douglas. And as always, I am podcasting off the beautiful shores of the Pacific Ocean. Beautiful day out here in Southern California. PORSPR is my Twitter handle. I want to thank everybody who is listening to the show and watching the show in Alberta, whatever, in Canada. Sorry for my people up in Canada. The city name wrong. Redwood City, California. We also got Texas, San Antonio, Texas, Anaheim, California, Bloomington, Illinois. I mean, is Jim Leonard listening to the Student Body Right USC podcast? And then we got Dublin, California, Newmark, California, San Francisco, California, Sacramento, California, Boston, Massachusetts, and got San Diego in here. We also got Yukon, Oklahoma, and we got Moreno Valley. We also got Kingsville, Texas, and then Tucson, Arizona. Got people listening and watching the Student Body Right USC podcast. So I'm not going to go on a big diatribe about the game and the season. You know, we got some shows this week to go ahead and do that with. What I wanted to do is talk about Lincoln Riley and just I think he just has to ask a simple question in this offseason as he looks in the mirror and gets ready for, what can be, a really tough season next year if he doesn't do what he needs to do. Is that, what does he want to become as a head coach? Like, the little reverses, the little cute plays, the explosive plays that they get sometimes. When they get hot, they can score points. All those things like that. At the end of the day, what do you want to be known for? What do you want to become as a head coach? It's big. I mean, it's a really big thing here where like they have to sit there and say to themselves, do you want to become something special as a head coach? And that means, taking care of the football, not turning the ball over in your own end, holding people accountable. I mean, playing the right people. It's like playing the best players. I mean, everybody respects when coaches play the best players. Players know who the best players are, and they'll never gripe when those players are on the field. But when you're playing heavy minutes with the guys who are not those players, it just looks shitty. And I think that's what Alex Grinch was doing when he was here, and this is the best of the best. Like you're supposed to be, Oregon is really good, Washington is really good, but you're supposed to have all the resources. You're supposed to be the best in the West, and you got to take advantage of that stuff. And if you can't do it, I think that's why people are frustrated. USC started this season off as a preseason number 6. Season started and they were like ranked number 6 in the nation. Like that says a whole lot about like the team, like that the nation, that the people said, hey, you know what, this team is going to be, we're going to rank them 6th in the nation. A lot of it was because they have Caleb Williams. A lot of it was because they had, Barry Alexander, and then they said, oh wait, then they all had the same attitude and said, hey, the defense can't possibly be worse than it was last year. And it was. There was no reason for it because you have a guy, who's a defensive analyst in Alabama and Charlie Strong. You know, a guy who's a defensive analyst in Illinois and Jim Leonard. You have some quality options there. Go out there and go get those guys. And they didn't do it. They should have done what he needed to do with Caleb Williams, and then let's see what happens. They lost so many just heartbreaking games because they just could not get the stop they needed. They couldn't get. They made, mobile quarterbacks or backup quarterbacks look like superstars. Like absolute superstars. Like you can't Like that is just not good football. And even offensively, they, when they really needed to, when they really needed to have it, they turned it over. So we can't just say it's all on, you know, Alex Grinch. It's partly on Alex Grinch. It's not all on Alex Grinch. You know, the quarterback, head coach are aligned, and this guy, this number 13 that played for USC the last 2 years, like almost scored 100 touchdowns, in 2 years. The most in FBS football. And there's nothing to say for it. And there's nothing there's nothing you can do about it. Like he didn't get a chance to just kind of show it against some of the best teams in the nation. You know, you had those opportunities to do those things, and you could not, and you couldn't take advantage of it. And I think that's the saddest part. That's the part that you really don't like. But here is your opportunity. It's 2 years in. He's not getting fired. He's not leaving. It's a $80 million bad buyout. I know what happened in Texas A&M when they bought out Jimbo Fisher, but that's not it. But I mean, for him, it's like just look at what Washington did, and look where that head coach is, where that team is, and just like that, that athletic director is your athletic director. So it's SC. It's the best of the best. Like Jen Cohen is one of the best. You have a lot of opportunities to get better. Excuse me. And you gotta hit the recruiting trail crazy. You gotta do what you gotta do in the transfer portal. You gotta kind of solve. I think early on they gotta solve this thing at quarterback to see if it is gonna be Millen Moss, if it is gonna be Malachi Nelson. I kind of lead toward Nelson in my mind because I just like I want the upside. I want the upside. I know Millen Moss can run the offense, everything like that, but sometimes you need that. You need that off schedule thing, and I want Malachi Nelson in my just for me, just for me. Um, I think that's just for me. Looks like the kid from Kansas is not coming. He wrote a tweet the other day saying that he's staying at Kansas. So, there's probably other people in the portal that we're not thinking about right now who might be able to transfer, but you know, we'll have to see. We'll have to also see who's going to the NFL draft. Caleb did not talk to the media after their loss to UCLA. But it did seem like a goodbye tour. I mean, he shook everybody's hand. It wasn't a normal after the game for Caleb Williams, and he ran off the field. And I know people were just saying until that actually takes place, until he actually says it, people can still hold out hope. But I think I think the bowl game will say it all. Like if he doesn't play in the bowl game, I think it's pretty clear he's not coming back. I think it's pretty clear that Caleb Williams is not coming back if he doesn't play in the bowl game. It would just make all the sense in the world for him not to come back. Why risk it? Why get hurt? All those things like that. He worked so hard for this moment. I think it's just about that time for him. It's about that time. And if he goes NFL draft, no matter where he goes, I wish him all luck in the world. Even if it's to a team that's a rival of mine, I just love the work. I love the work ethic. I love what he has accomplished. And I think that it was just too bad that SC did not get it done for him. But again, no special teams coach. They had special teams issues. I mean, the drive right before the end of the half. Dennis Lynch, who missed the field goal in this game, missed a 20-yard field goal in this game, extra point in this game, basically, and then kicked the ball out of bounds. First thing he does after the timeout, he missed the field goal at Cal. Like to me, if you are Lincoln Riley, like get better, right? But just take things off your plate so you can be better at what you do. He's a really good offensive mind, but he can be even better. He can be even better. Take it off your plate. Have somebody run the special teams for you. Have the dudes, have a defensive coordinator who has competence to run it for you. So you're not sitting there saying to yourself, what do I gotta do now? I gotta score 60 points to beat Washington. Like you shouldn't have to be in a position to do that. You shouldn't have to be in a position to say, I gotta score 60, 70, 80 points, like a basketball score, in order to beat some of these teams in the pack in the Big Ten. Now the Big Ten, everybody's gonna flex and say Big Ten this, Big Ten that. With the exception of Michigan, I mean Michigan. I think Tiger Valoa at Maryland, if he's back next year, there's not a lot of quarterbacks there. The problem with USC, the way they are constructed defensively right now is you could have some of these teams like Minnesota and all of the teams like that just line up and just run the football on you. And it doesn't even matter. You can't get to their back quarterback because you're giving up chunk plays, chunk plays, chunk plays, chunk plays. You know? And those are the things that really, and that's the thing. Like, do you want to be known as a guy who just was a Mike Leach disciple who just maybe made a little bit of changes from Leach, and then you're in a situation here where you are just a guy who likes to call plays on the sideline, and you don't have the whole entire game encompassed in your brain. Still didn't go for two when he's supposed to go for two. Still didn't, the timeout situations. They were horrible in the middle eight all year, which is the last 4 minutes of the second quarter and the first 4 minutes of the third quarter. Very critical time in every football game. Those are things that you gotta really, if he really sits back and look at what the things really plagued his team were, and not just say, hey, there was a big play behind that sack. Oh, you're not gonna get to the sack. To let Latu just, who's a first round pick, who's going to be a fantastic defensive end in National Football League, a really cool sack master, to not help. They rushed three. Danton Lynn they just rushed three and were able to get tremendous pressure on Caleb Williams. Like he's not like, he can't push a button and disappear and then show up somewhere else. Like he's a human being. He's not on the X. He's not an X-Man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so if you want to really, get to that next level, I mean, you gotta find out he has to ask himself. He has to ask the question, like, what kind of head coach does Lincoln Riley want to be? That's just the biggest question for the show. That's the biggest question for him in his offseason. What does he want to be? Because I'm not worried about the people coming out of the woodwork, people talking trash. Like, I think this is the anomaly. I think it's a one-time thing here with a 7-5 record. He's never had that kind of record before. So I'm gonna go by, everything in Oklahoma and last year, opposed to this 1 year. But again, I'll leave you with that. Like, what type of head coach does he want to be? What does he want to be known for? I think right now it's going to be that DC position, and I know people are chirping about a certain Illinois analyst, but I got to see it first. I got to see the press conference first before I kind of get hint out there that Jim Leonard might be coming to USC. So, all right, so everybody, right? USC podcast. Do some all 22 stuff this week. We'll talk to Coach B. We'll talk to Evan Desai. We'll do all that stuff for you. And don't forget, man, we got to put on Raiders stuff. We got the Student Body Right USC podcast shirts. I mean, looking really tight, looking really fit. And like I was saying before, like, if you don't, you might have arms, you might have some nice arms, you might not, but These shirts they're snug right around the arms, so your girl gonna be like, yo, you know, looking good, looking tight over there. So she gonna say, she gonna be like, did you go to the gym? Damn, you know what I'm saying? So take it from there. Support the show. Any way you can. You could do that, and we're gonna have membership stuff coming up too as well. So we're gonna add some things to this channel, and we appreciate all the help you guys are doing with you guys are helping us with. We got some things coming up that you're gonna really like, especially in this off season for the Raider fans and for the SC fans. We got some really good stuff coming here with recruiting. Got some really good stuff coming here with the quarterbacks in the NFL draft. Some real cool stuff coming up. So definitely hang out here. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe, and send it to a friend. If you cannot see the show, then please, by all means, go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere podcasts are available to watch the Student Body Right USC podcast and the Put On Raiders podcast. All right, Trojans, as always, don't forget to always let me get in the camera. Fight on. I can't get my fingers in there. Fight on. Peace.